is Fifoloa Akirami, and of course, I'm here with another amazing analyst, Adetom Ade Bongo. I'm sure I'm hoping I didn't mess up the name, but I'm here with Adeto, and she's here this morning on the newspaper review. Good morning.
Good morning, Fane. Thank God it's Friday.
Adia, thank God it's Friday. We're finally going to be able to rest from all the stress in the week.
Absolutely. It's
Yes.
really been an amazing week, but we are at the weekend, so we are just warming up for activities running through the weekend.
Yes, yes, definitely. And that's why I advise everybody to always take time to rest. It's very, very important. When you see chance to rest like this, Oga, just rest. Bro. Thank you so much for joining that. It's such a pleasure to have you here. In case you're wondering where is Fumi, I'm stepping in for Fumi for a moment today. So in case you're wondering, who is this? Yes.
Great
All
to
right. So
have you too. Thank you.
you're welcome. So let me go through the headlines for the morning. In Punch newspaper, we have big Democratic overall. Tinubu's 65 envoy picks brace for Senate storm. Senate orders nationwide crackdown as lead poisoning hits Lagos. Tinubu receives letter of credence from 17 ambassadors for high commissioners. Full list. FG releases names of 68 ambassadorial nominees sent to the Senate for confirmation. Musa vows swift security turn around as Kuka demands normalcy by another means. In the This Day newspaper, Tinubu swears in Musa, defense minister, in renewed hope, in renewed purpose for national security. Akpabio seeks Foreign Affairs Committee to screen Tinubu's 65 ambassadorial list nominees for confirmation. In Daily Trust, we have ADC Obi flee Tinubu's over early campaign. Challenges before new defense minister. In Vanguard, we have will defeat terror, restore order and peace. That's the defense minister, NSA. We also have rising insecurity. NLC threatens national mourning protest. In Premium Times, we have Ribadu Kuka Sultan outlines how Nigeria can achieve lasting peace. Tinubu nominees 65 more ambassadors, ex-governors, ex-senators included. How police negligence, families inaction led to the death of a woman sexually abused by uncle. In the nation, we have economic climate now right, says economic climate now right, says Edu Dangote. Arming communities dangerous. Arming communities is dangerous. That's Kuka wants. The cable debate on constitutional review bill slated as reps protest unavailability of copies. Arcas hits my account through OPay and Money Points. Okay. That's a call for stricter fintech oversight. Daily Post says police arraigned 5 over alleged fake reports for schoolgirls adoption in Akwa Ibom. Another one says, I feel perfectly safe here. Boris Johnson rejects negative security reports in Nigeria. In the Tribune, we have Ibas, and Ibas nominated as Tinubu's increases nominal list for 268 as opposed to 65 earlier. And Tinubu swears in ex-CDS Musa as defense minister. In pen pushing, we have Delta State Police Command ban the use of fireworks, knockouts during Christmas. And then we have gunmen abduct all Progressive Congress chieftain in Oyo State. Those are the headlines this morning on the newspaper review. The most occurring issue on the news this morning is Tinubu's ambassadorial list. Right, is that list going on at the moment? And big diplomatic overall as Tinubu's 65 envoy picks brace for Senate storm. Now, before it was 65, now it's 68. That means it's still adding more people to the list that of the already had that he already has at the moment. And what does that list represent for us? Because the fact that he is currently bringing in people, campaigning, and all of that, while there is insecurity in Nigeria, I think it's something of great concern. Does it mean that we are not important? Does it mean that the welfare of the citizens is not important? What do you think about this list that Tinubu just, released out, even despite the rising insecurities in the country?
Well, thank you so much, Finn. Well, let me start by saying that usually this list has actually been delayed. As
Mm.
you know, there are actually supposed to have been some replacements or reshuffling over the years, but
Yeah.
the delay has been, you know, considered as good for now because of the
Mm.
financial implications. Why some have said, oh, it's actually because of some political, tussle here and there that has to, be attended to. Of
Yeah.
course, you would have favors here and there, and that's why you have some names, some are quite worrisome. Some are like, oh, probably these are some of the gains they
Mm.
get from supporting the present administration, which of course is always, synonymous with most of these nominee lists. But it's
Yeah.
not dependent on the Senate to screen. As we learned, the screening will start
Mm-hmm.
very soon to
Mm-hmm.
shake up, a little bit of those that have been nominated and see how far they can go with getting credible people. I'm
Yeah.
sure over the list you will look at the fact that we've had actually have issues the course of the week regarding some of those names we have on that nominee
Yeah.
list.
Terminated.
We're
Yeah.
looking at ex-presidential aide Reno Omokre, which actually got a lot of, people talking. We have Femi Fanikaude on the list, and we also have Mahmoud Yakubu, the of course immediate past chairman of INEC on the list.
Yes.
And apart from that, we also have former governors. At least from here, I can see like 3, 4 former governors in the list. You also have, former first ladies, as you call them, of 2 different states. We're talking about Oyo
Yes.
State and Ekiti State,
Mm-hmm.
and others, in that particular list. And it raises a lot of concern on why we have these former appointees or elected, persons in that list.
Yes.
I want to believe that Nigeria has a lot of intelligent and personnels and that are really credible enough to be on this list.
On the
But
list.
when it comes to politicking in Nigeria, these are some of the things you see. We have those that have served at one time or the other being, nominated on some of these lists because probably they have to pay, some favors here and there, or their support for their political party,
Yes.
or, some reasons are also best known to the president, as long as we know that he is allowed to nominate while the Senate is actually meant to screen those that are actually they feel that they deserve to be some of our representative across different countries. The list is quite enormous because if you look at it, really, it's as if just as you said, is adding more to the list, and so is actually dependent on the Senate to decide because of course
Mm-hmm.
it's a mixture of diplomats, technocrats, politicians. As I mentioned, we also have retired security chiefs there. And then coming back to your second question, is the economy, the security situation of the country, how does it come into
Yes.
play? Don't forget that they are also representing different countries where we have Nigerian citizens. And so it's being said that those positions have, been left, where we can't see. We've not actually seen anything coming from those countries. So, in the interest of security concerns and others, it's fit at this time for
Yeah.
us to have those persons that will represent us well. If you look at the security situation, is also part of it. We need to have representative who can, mediate between the citizens and what goes on in the countries where they are residing, so that at least the
Outside the
welfare of the
country.
citizens are well
Yeah.
taken care
Yeah.
of. So these are some of the things you will definitely have, in any administration that comes on board. And then looking at the security situation itself, of course, we witnessed in the course of the week the appointment of the new I would say general who is going to take over the baton of leadership now. And we are hopeful, with the new incoming security representatives earlier appointed by the president, we are hoping that we will have a shift in the course of security situations in Nigeria. Even though in this season, a lot of people have been raising concerns, the festive season, we know what happened previous years and all that. And there might be tension here and there and panic here and there. But hopefully, let's see how some of our security personnel that have just
Yes.
been newly appointed will do well to ensure that the safety of the citizen and the country at large, becomes a priority for them. As I've always said, we can't continue to go round in a circle without achieving a result. So we believe that those new security
Exactly.
personnel on board will be able to actually take the security concerns of the country as a priority for them.
Exactly, because just like you said, we can't keep going round in circles. What is the assurance that this new set of people would actually prioritize security in the country and also fight for our interest in their respective countries? It's something we need to really look into, because just like you said, it's a list filled with Democrats, politicians, and all of that. Is there an assurance that these people would actually get the job done? It's not just about this person has been in office before. Is there an assurance that they can actually get the job done? Or because it's not just a position for, oh, I know this guy, or me and this person, we've worked together. There should be some form of measure to test credibility, right? There should be some form of measures to test that this set of people that we are electing can actually get the job done, because that's the goal at the end of the day. If we keep bringing in more people and there is no change whatsoever, there is really no point at all for it. So what is the proof that this new set of people would actually give us the results that we intend to see?
If you look at those that have actually been newly appointed, it is being said that they are capable, they are credible enough, and being appointed is really a big deal for this country. And I think at the back of their mind, the motto, let me say, the motto will be get the job done.
Yes.
We've seen in the course of this year, we've seen a lot of issues as regards to killings, kidnapping, ransom being paid,
A lot.
and parts of the country being destroyed, churches, and even towns being destroyed as a result of insecurity situation in the country. But having said that, I want to believe that they've taken the baton of leadership, and it is, there are a lot of expectations on the new sets of security personnel. If they have a time limit they have been given, I believe that they should seize an opportunity. It's really a
Yeah.
real opportunity to serve this country and to ensure that insecurity issues become a thing of the past in the country.
In the
And I want to
country.
believe that it's not also about just the ranks of people that have been appointed. It's about the fact that they can deliver. It's about the fact that they are
That's it.
competent enough,
That's it.
to do the job. And that is really what Nigerians are asking for. That's really why I feel
That's
that the
it.
president has appointed this set of security personnel. So talking about, are we sure they will deliver? I think time will really tell if they can. But I want to believe that they should know that it's an opportunity for them to serve and really get the job done, and in the course of time.
Yeah, so let's see. Time will tell, and let's see where that leads us at the end of the day. We got a message from WhatsApp, and it says, "Nice morning and happy weekend to you all in the studio. After spending almost 3 years in office, your President Tinubu is just appointing ambassadors. That means if Donald Trump does not intervene, Mr. Jagaban will spend 4 years without ambassadors. Please, where are all the experiences we are meant to understand this? Please, where are all the experiences we are meant to understand that Tinubu has? It is quite unfortunate. From day one, master strategies policies are full of errors. No wonder we are called disgraced nation by another president who has just waking up our sleeping president. Please, Mr. Tinubu, my advice to you is to resign and save yourself. Okay. And he also says, "Oh God, arise and trouble those who are troubling Nigerians." That's from Mayor from Ikotwegbe. So he is saying, why are we just appointing ambassadors now? It's almost like a year to the end of the tenure, and he's just appointing ambassadors now. Why? I mean, we will not be able to tell why because we're not in his mind, but it's just what it is because the tenure is almost over and you're just appointed. So what has been happening before, like during the past 3 years of his stay as president? That means we probably did not have ambassadors, or we have in some countries and we didn't have in some countries. But why is it coming up now? Why now of all the time that it could have happened? And he is saying it is because of Trump's intervention. That's why, like, everybody is now taking action and everybody is. But I don't know if that is why. We cannot really say this is what happens in the national system because we're not there with them. But at the same time, do you think it is Trump's intervention that is causing all of this activeness, all over the place in Nigeria?
Well, I'm not really sure that question is actually for me. As you mentioned also, I think
Yes.
the president gives us the
The
reasons,
answer.
but I've also mentioned that some have said it's because of the financial constraints that the new incoming ambassadors or representatives of the country in those different countries should, have a comfortable environment to function in. Why is coming now? As I also mentioned, has to do with some other issues, probably for political reasons as well. But the president is in the best position
Yes.
to answer that. But I know that this is not
After that.
something that we should really dwell more on, because it could also be because of maybe Trump intervention as well. Tables have to be shaped and all that. There has to be a lot of activeness here and there, which can also be part of it. But largely, I think the president really knows the reason. If we have just 1 year for them to function effectively, I think that should be the priority. And getting the right people in the right places, it also
Get
matters
it
a
done.
lot. So I'm sure you
Yes.
know that the Senate have a lot of work to do, ensuring that they screen all these candidates properly to get the best candidates. And then you know that we cannot do without these communication channels, especially as it regards to nominating ambassadors to represent us in those countries. It is really vital.
Yes.
And so probably also you find out that most citizens in some of these countries, especially Nigerian citizens, they need this diplomatic channels to be able to pass on whatever challenges they're having in those
Information.
countries. So I
Yeah.
want to believe that, in as much as we've not had any particular thing of interest as regards to their safety in those countries, let's just hope that those that are taking up the leadership into those countries going forward will be able to ensure that our citizens are well catered for in those countries and there's peace,
Yeah.
in those countries as well.
I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that even if they spend 6 months in office, if they would get the job done, the job will be done, and we would see the results of the work that is being done. So maybe it's not about how long they've stayed there for. Maybe it's about how well they can do the job in the space of whatever time they have been giving to get the job done. Thank you so much, Adito, for that very detailed explanation this morning. Now to the second news of the day, from Punch newspaper as well. It says Senate orders nationwide crackdown as lead poisoning hits Lagos. It says that on Thursday, he expressed grave alarm over a fast spreading lead poisoning crisis in Ogijo, actually in Lagos, around the borders of Ikorodu, Ogun State, and all of that. And he described it as a full-blown environmental and public health emergency that threatens thousands of lives. And I heard it's because of there is a certain battery acid currently in that vicinity that is causing this in those sides of Lagos. What do you think the government can do? Because it is very important now, if we say these residents of that community should vacate that space, what is the guarantee that they have somewhere else to go to, and what is the assurance that the government will provide a better environment? Because I know that for any factory to build anything where they are, they must have gotten approval from the government. So that means that that space where that factory is was approved initially. Now it is cutting arm to the citizens of to the residents of that location. What is the assurance that when they leave, or if they ask them to vacate that premises, they would provide another place for them to go? Because you can't tell them, they are all already suffering from one sickness or the other because of that lead crisis. Why was the place approved in the first place if we know the harm that this thing can cause? And if they are to leave that space now, are we providing any form of shelter for these people? Even now, is there any guarantee that their health will be taken care of by the government? You know.
Well, it's really a sad one. And I also believe that government approval for any industrial production or manufacturing of whatever it is pass through a lot of
Yeah.
rigorous process here and there, paperwork before it gets to the final approval. And so I want to believe that this has already been done by the government. Now realizing that it's not safe for those living in that environment. If government has to tell those there to leave, that means they have an alternative accommodation for them, or probably because of the kind of urgency towards that. I want to believe that they've done due diligence to
For
ensure
them,
that that is
exactly.
well taken care of. Because it won't be nice if the government has approved something and at the end of the day it's causing a lot of health issues
Mm.
for the people there, and they have nowhere else to go. That will really be some kind of
For
worry.
yeah.
But going forward also, we've seen that even in places like Niger Delta, where there's oil exploration and all that, you find out at some point in time, the people in that community always agitate, for enabling environment. They always ask questions of what is the benefit that is coming for them if most of their livelihood are being, struck out. They can't do a lot of activities in that environment. And if we are going to look
Yes.
at it really, I just feel that the industry or probably the sector responsible, or even the manufacturing company in that particular community needs to put some things in
Mm.
place. We could say they are just like um, incentives. They could also say is like CSR, just to at least make sure that they are not just endangering the lives of those in those communities where they are doing their production. This is
Yes.
quite important in as much as it could be looked at, oh, this is an investment for Nigeria and all that, and employment comes through that. But then you can't really weigh that with the health of those in that community. So I want to also believe that apart from what the government will be doing, the company or the manufacturing company in that community should also be able to try and sort out something, for the people, at least for them to know that they are not just there just to manufacture. They're also concerned about the health concerns of the people in that community.
Mm. It is very true. It's very important because many lives are currently in danger because of this issue, and every country, every government should be very particular about the citizens of their country, the residents of their country, and the state in general. And this is a call to the government to please provide shelter for these people, as much as they already have health issues. Consistent headache due to this lead crisis. A lot of people are falling sick. Children, babies, a lot of them are falling sick. So we're calling on the government to please provide shelters for them, as well as proper health kits to help these people get better, because it is not, they are just victims of circumstance. They just found themselves there. They didn't plan to be in that kind of environment, and it can really happen to anyone. So this is a call to please provide shelters for them and quick medical attention altogether. Thank you so much, Adito, for that. In this day newspaper, it says Tinubu swears in Musa, defense minister, in renewed purpose for national security. Now, I think this is a step in the right direction to bring up, some form of security in the country, despite due to the many things that has been happening. But for now that he's swearing in Musa as defense minister, are we sure that the security situation of the country is going to improve and it's going to do better? Despite considering the fact that this man, we know that he can do the job, but how can he bring in other because for any minister to actually do their work well, it takes a collaborative effort from the grassroots to the top. It takes collaborative effort. It's a joint work altogether. So how do we think what do you think about this? Defense Minister Musa being sworn in as defense minister. How do we know that this is going to bring some form of national security altogether in the country?
A new person coming on board, you would know that he should have been aware of what has been going on. He's a citizen of Nigeria in the first place, and so he knows he has enormous work to do. And carrying the stakeholders along also matters, because we've seen instances where there have been a lot of unrest in some parts of the country. Once the deed is done,
Yes.
before our security personnel get there, of course, it's more like it's too late. And so it would be good if we have collaborative efforts from the community members, those in those villages, because most of them, in most of all the reports we've read, they actually know those who are perpetrating these crimes. But how do you bring them to book?
Mm. Looks like we lost Adetong right there. The network is still it's bad. I don't know what's going on, but we were just having a conversation around how Musa was being elected as the new defense minister, to provide national security for citizens of Nigeria, to provide security for every single person. And just like she said, the reason, knowing that there's someone in power now, someone has been sworn in, is a proof that they are aware of the security challenges in the country. They are aware that there is need for a new defense minister to be on board, to take over certain activities in the country altogether. So yes, I feel this is a step in the right direction to help every citizen of Nigeria stay more secure, stay more active, and stay more alive altogether. And we'll be right back very soon after this short break. This is Women Radio 91.7, and you're listening to the newspaper review.
Here we go.
We are WFM 91.7.
Feel the beat, that's great. Outside, sky is clear, laughter and joy, Christmas is here. In every house, the music plays, family and friends fill the days. Soulful lights, they shine so bright, moving our feet through the night. With every beat, we feel the cheer, jingle, rhythm, it's all right here. Let's drive. Yeah, just feel it's high under festive open sky. Clapping hands, stomping feet to the marching rhythm, feel the beat. The air's warm, but hearts are warmer. With every hand, we're getting closer. Gifts and smiles we all share. This is Christmas beyond compare. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Music and rhythm, spirits soar. Feel the magic on the floor. Come together, hearts as one. In this joy we all belong. Let's drive. In every beat, in every sound, this is where our joy is found. Lights are bright, our spirits soar. In the rhythm, we find more. Oh, 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 oh. Dance with me. This was so wild and free. Oh, feel the fire. Dancing to the drums, lifting us higher. Holiday beat, let's thrive.
Sexual comments such as whistling or catcalls are not compliments. They are harassment. Speak up. Respect women. Women Radio 91.7 FM says,
have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community? Send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537.
All right, you're welcome back. This is Women Radio 91.7, Nigeria's only radio station for women and their families. I am still listening to the newspaper review. The news we're currently analyzing is Tinubu swears in Musa as defense minister in renewed purpose for national security. And in one of the statements, it was mentioned that Christopher Musa has a track record in service, positioned, he has had a track record in service over time, and he has positioned him to drive a more integrated national security response. Just like Adito mentioned earlier, that he understands the security situation in the country, and he can, of course, bring in certain kinds of solutions that if every single person supports, we all need to understand that at the end of the day, it's a joint effort, whether there is a minister or not, there is a joint effort for every single person to bring in more security in the country. And he also mentioned that okay, so that's one of the things we're having conversation about this morning of the newspaper review, whether or not Christopher Musa can do the job as the new defense minister. Do we even have the resources in Nigeria? Do we have the resources that it takes to help our security agencies do better? Do we have them, or we have them and we don't use them? Because you can have great ideas. So Christopher Musa can have great ideas, can have great mindset, but do we have the resources in place to get this job done? Do we have the people in place to support to get this job done in the country at the moment?
Yes, we actually have the people. If you are talking about that, we have lots of people for the job, and that's most of the reasons why they are being recruited into our security um, agencies and all that. But if you talk about the resources at their disposal to make them function effectively, there could be some constraints there, because in most of the reports, we've seen instances whereby we've had cases, of course, where security personnel have not been able, to defeat, those involved in these criminal activities as regards to security concerns in the country. We've also seen where it's been said that a lot of our security personnel are too far away from the people, from the communities where they are actually supposed, to guard. We've had instances also where there's really not been a lot of intelligence gathering as to what will help our security personnel know where to track some of these criminal, of course, the criminals perpetrating these crimes. We've also had instances where, it's been alleged that some persons are sponsoring those involved in causing unrest in the country, and they've not really been mentioned or brought to book. We've not had arrests of those that are also committing these crimes. We only hear that they go on rampage, and after that, the matter is laid to rest. We've not had concrete evidence or arrests or prosecutions of those that are perpetrating these crimes. And so it's really looking at something that we've been on in the country as regards security issues in the country. But hopefully, I'm looking at it from the angle of probably when you have a new person coming in, he would have great ideas, and he will be able to look at some of the loopholes and then learn from his predecessors what they've not been able to do right, and how he can come in and put in some new things so that we can have results. I'm also looking at the aspect of collaborations with our security personnel and those in the host communities, because it's important. You can't work in isolation, but you really need the help of those in those communities. And in some of the issues of criminal activities we've had, where those in the communities, I can identify those perpetrating these crimes.
Good morning, Madam. Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
You always speak my mind, and I agree with all you are saying. And all I need to add is that these security personnel, they are human. Without our support, that's something they can do. Because those people they know these people, and they are living with them, and they're protecting it. This man is not going to succeed without them. If they want us to depend on their colleagues, we have to support this man. We have to give us some certain information. Without that, some of those big people, like I learned that some of them have school. Why haven't these kidnappers gone there? And the person must have questions. Some of their governors Atiku and so on, they have. But have you ever heard that all those kidnappers gone there? What is working on all this? It's a matter of time. Some of the way to test credibility, somebody you have worked with. What I'm like, when I reached the new place where I work and retired, when I get there, when they saw how I was working, they say, do I have some people? And I pick up some of you that I've worked with, that I know that I've done one thing or the other. I don't understand me. This God, I'm praying for him, I'm praying for the peace of this according to the scripture. People like us, you don't wake up and depend on what the newspaper is saying. Like I told you, I studied that a lot. All I'm looking for is the way I will leave this or where I'm going. And that's why I watch whatever I say or whatever, because I know God will call me and you to accountable one day. All I need is governance, accountability. What you need. Nigeria, do you know how many people that are dying? You cannot afford daily food. Who they lose? Do you know how many people are dying of hunger? We're talking about things. If we take today, people are dying because of hunger. You can't pay house rent, you can't pay light bill, you can't pay this. People are let's do something to reduce property. So let the poor breathe. President Tinubu, please, let the poor are not breathing. Please, or else I'm not going to vote for you anymore. I know I said it before. It's only God that can remove this man. I tell you. But I know who's happening. It's only God. You can come now. Tomorrow, if you want election, you say you read election. And how many governors come to this? Where is about this? Where is our chicken? Even we don't even know the political party. So 2026 already. I don't know how would they be able to put this man? So somebody say somebody has big election. Where are they? Because we should always Trump intervention has played a lot of role, and I love it. Even as I say, he must not come and intervene and take over as security. I don't support that because America itself have their own problem. So we can, but intervention, I really love it. It can change a lot of things. But we are not serious on this security issue. And so look at the ambassador and they go already. So it can really say the government. I love it. And I want you to continue that so that everybody is sitting up. And that they want somebody from them to tell them what to do. And that's what they want. And it's a really shame. I think that we should always do the right thing anywhere we are. I don't say Christian, I believe. Just as evangelist, I told you I have Bible, I have Quran. As creation, there's something like Muslim, Christian, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. God created Adam and we all are from Adam and Eve. As it's in the Bible, love your neighbors, love yourself. It's in the Quran, love for us, it is for now. And whosoever hates is the mortal. That's I don't believe the fallacy they are telling the Muslim go and kill. You cannot fight for God. It's a fallacy. It's not in Quran. Even I also tell you Quran only to fight to the Bible. That whosoever Quran chapter 10 verse, I'm quoting, I'm not saying one to 10 verse. So whosoever does anything they don't understand that Quran, that read that you should go to the Bible as they study the Bible. Now whosoever does not believe the word of the Bible is an unbeliever. Quran chapter 5 verse 5 says the same gospel that giving to the Christian, giving to the Muslims, there's only one God that Muslims should marry Christians, but should not marry unbelievers. It is stated there. And that's why I want so many Christians going to Christ, not to church. The difference between religion. So the message is repentance and forgiveness to be teaching in the name of Jesus. God is in Quran and Jesus alone. No religion. Religion is the repentance and faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. Let us always do that. Remember that God is one. God
Thank you so much.
And Jesus is just again. Do the right thing. God is watching us. Thank you all. God bless you all. And you are the greatest.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much for calling to share your thoughts with us this morning on the matter. Do you want to react to what he just said, Adito?
Not really. It just shows you that we are all Nigerians and we are paying attention to issues of the country. And whether we like it or not,
Yes.
one or two views is actually allowed, because it's coming from
Yes,
different
of course.
perspectives and all that.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. The next news for the day is also from Punch newspaper. It says that, okay, this is from This Day. This is from This Day newspaper now. It says Nigeria directs Education Ministry to take back its curriculum review policy. So the House of Representatives have called on the Ministry of Education to take back the implementation of its curriculum review policy, considering the limited time frame to give students a fair chance to success at their examination. It says they moved the motion that the lawmakers should follow directives from the ministry. Key subjects including but not limited to computer science, data processing, electronic installation and maintenance, photography, and civic education have been removed from the WAEC portal. It said while acknowledging the efforts to enhance the national curriculum, the time is not just right. I think that is very true because the time frame to execute this new curriculum was really short. And if it is implemented now, the chances that most students would fail their exam is very high. And considering the fact that they were probably not taught all of these subjects in school while preparing for their WAEC examination. Now, going into WAEC, you're seeing some subjects that you don't even know about before. I think it's a step in the right direction, telling them to take it back for a moment. It's a good thing that they want to review the curriculum, but not at this time. Like, they should give the students more time to get prepared and gather themselves. So do you think it is important that the the curriculum is being taken aback for a moment and being reintroduced later. Because if they go ahead with it now, the chances are most students will fail, even with the fact that there's a need to review the curriculum every now and then, because many of our subjects are maybe a little archaic. Many of them need reviewing, and I'm happy that they are bringing in new subjects that are relevant to everyday life, everyday society, and everyday need. But at this time, is it relevant that this course or this subjects come into play right now, considering the fact that the time frame, especially for the students, is very, very limited?
I really quite agree, because if you look at it, the duration towards the exam is quite limited. But one thing I've found out about those in government agencies is that they like coming up with fire brigade measures, and at the end of the day, the motive behind it is being defeated, because they don't put into consideration that you have students that have been preparing since SS1 for their final exam in SS3, and now you are bringing those changes. In as much as those changes are good, it doesn't come with a lot of benefit. It looks so more like counterproductive. And the funny thing also is that, in as much as we have the relevance of some of these subjects have been highlighted, you want to look at it from the perspectives that there are still actually some schools who have not even started scratching the surface as regards most of these subjects. And there are some that, if you look at their curriculum, probably they've not even included it. So it's really good that this is coming on board. But the time frame for those students that are going to write the WAEC for this year is really, really not something that we can compromise. They've prepared since SS1, and now you want them to change subjects and all that. It's really going to be very, very stressful for these students. And I'm really particularly happy. If there's one thing that makes me happy about this result, is the fact that the House of Reps, they've stepped in and they've identified the fact that this is not going to be beneficial to the students. In as much as the review they are doing is commendable. But I also believe that to me, it also shows that we actually still have members of the House of Reps on some committees who have, different of these committees who can, identify some of these loopholes and be able to put their feet down and say, this shouldn't come at this time. It really shows that they are working. It really shows that they are sensitive enough also to the plight of the students, and to ensure that our students are not disenfranchised in any way as they write their exams. Because if you look at it, it just means that you want majority of the students to fail their exams. And I don't think that is really going to play well. So yes, the move is fine, but the timing is absolutely very, very wrong.
Yes, that's very true. The move is right, but the timing is very, very wrong. And I'm happy that somebody's even has decided to speak up and say, no, this is a good move, but let's wait for more. Because before now, we just see policies come into play. They just happen, and everybody's just confused. Like, when did this happen? What is going on? But I'm happy that there is a form of check and balance going on in the Senate, and that is really, really good. That's one thing I'm happy about, and it's a sign that Nigeria would eventually be great again. Because if we have things like this, happening often, it would definitely be good again. It was said that civic education was removed from the curriculum, but civic education is one thing that helps students understand their country, the citizens, and everything around the country. Why would civic education be removed from the national curriculum for students? How else should they know what is going on in their country if they are not taught? I mean, that was where I learned about the Constitution. That was where you learned about certain things in the country. So why should they remove civic education from the curriculum in the first place?
I would have thought that the move really should have been, enhancing that most of these subjects are well played out in the curriculum rather than removing them. So
Yes.
even in as much as we are saying, oh, this movie is good and all that, they still need a second process to look at these subjects that have been removed. Yes, you want to remove those subjects. Yes, you have some subjects aligned that you feel they are not really valued. But when you look at data processing, when you look at computer studies, when you look at civic education, these are subjects that
Yes.
the students need. And aside that, we are in the jet age, we are in a digital age. You need these subjects, even for some students who in future probably wants to take up data processing, probably as a career or something. As we see it, it's the rave of the moment. You can't deprive those students of such subjects. When you look at computer studies, even most of the exams are done via, is it CBT something? You find out that a lot of these exams are done, online on computers and all that. We are shifting gradually from the paper era that when you have your exams, it's always on paper and all that. But when you remove civic education, you are just removing the obligation of citizens. You are not allowing citizens to know what is their rights, their obligation, their duties. You are not giving them a feel of what it means to be a citizen of a country, and then you are not making them credible citizens. I think in one of the reports I saw where it's been said that most of what the National Orientation Agency is doing right now is to bring citizens up to date with their civic responsibilities and so many things as regards, their well-being, or what relates to citizens to know about their country and other government policies and all that. Even though I most times I always criticize National Orientation Agency that they are not really
Look
doing
at we have a
enough.
call on its own. Hello?
Good morning. Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear
Good
us well?
morning.
Madam, thank God. I always say, just sharing your point. It's not easy to have a future in this country. Looking at what's happening here. My name is Ford, coming from Ogun State.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now, I talk about the curriculum. I don't know why they tell the minister to suspend it, because even if they want to introduce a new curriculum, they cannot compel those that are in final year preparing for exam to pick on such a subject and take as exam as for their examination. Because if a new curriculum is to be introduced, from my own view, it's supposed to start from the scratch, from the primary level up. By the time a child reaches secondary level, must have make up mind whether to go technical, commercial, or science, or art. They're not supposed to, from in my own view, for any reason, I don't know why, because even if they want to, even implement it, cannot start from the senior level. I remember when I was in those days in AC, we have handicap center in all local government areas.
Yes.
From primary school, you go to handicap center. There was welding, was bricklaying, carpentry. That was what even made me to have interest in going to technical college to do the carpentry and joinery. But now, even to grammar, school, grammar, this, grammar, that. It's not just not at all. China that we are talking about today. All what focus is technical, not even in English, in their own language. And they are competing in the world to take over the world, technology technical. So
Yes.
I'm happy for you people. I thank God for the wisdom, and I want to continue to give the Madam wisdom, continue to impact this knowledge to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much for calling, share your thoughts with us this morning. We pray Nigeria will be great again. And of course, this is a step in the right direction. We hope it's being implemented accordingly and at the right time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the newspaper review. Thank you so much, Adeton, for being here. It was a pleasure having you on the show this morning.
Thank you, Finn. Thank you so much.
All right, that will be all today on the newspaper review on Women Radio 91.7. And this is where we say goodbye on the Full Breakfast Show. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversations this morning. Coming up next is Our Land by 9 a.m. My name is Faithfulua Akirami. Bye for now.